Most people have no idea what's about to happen this November. Something is quietly breaking down in front of us, and no one is talking about it. I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. Don't skip a second of this message. Every part connects. Miss one thread, and you'll miss the truth entirely. Because this November, four forces will collide. Forces already reshaping your life, whether you've realized it or not. They're not predictions. They're present tense realities hidden from you. Hidden especially from seniors, the very people who've built this world and now find themselves shut out of its next chapter. And by the end of this message, I'll reveal the fourth force, the most dangerous and personal one of all, and how you can still protect yourself before time runs out. Before I tell you the first hidden force already in motion as we speak, I want you to tell me where you're listening from right now. Which city? Drop it in the comments below. You might already be feeling the effects of what I'm about to say, and sharing this will help others see it too. And while you're here, please hit the like button so more people and families can find this message and prepare. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss any valuable information I share. Because what I'm sharing will keep unfolding in the coming days, and I don't want you to be left behind. And if you're watching this right now, tell me in the comments, "I'm learning too." I want to see how many of you are really ready to hear what I'm about to share. Let's start with the first hidden truth, the silent collapse of mental health and societal well-being. Look around you. Anxiety has become the new oxygen. Sleep is vanishing. Trust is collapsing. And for the first time in modern history, human attention, your mind, has become a traded commodity. That's not an exaggeration. Every major platform today is designed not to connect you, but to consume you. And for seniors, people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, it's worse, because the digital world you didn't grow up in is now the only place society operates. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness a national epidemic. That's not random timing, it's engineered. Because the more disconnected you feel, the more dependent you become on screens that tell you who you are, what to fear, and who to trust. This is psychological warfare disguised as convenience. And millions are quietly losing their sense of purpose because of it. I've said it before, AI isn't just going to compete with humans economically, it's competing for human meaning. And when meaning collapses, so does civilization. You might think this doesn't concern you, that you've lived through harder times. But this is different. This is invisible erosion, the kind that steals joy, rewires thinking, and makes people give up long before they realize it. Ask yourself, how many people around you feel truly alive right now? When was the last time you woke up clear, driven, hopeful about the future? Be honest. Share your answers in the comments below. I feel the shift, or I don't feel it yet. I want to know where you stand because awareness is the first defense. Let me tell you about a woman from Michigan, 68 years old. She spent most of her life teaching, retired 2 years ago now. She says she can't even make it through a single day without checking her phone 2,000 times. She's lost interest in reading, church, even her grandkids' visits feel short. Her mind, she says, is always elsewhere. She's not alone. She's the new normal. That's what scares me. What's happening right now isn't about mental health awareness, it's about mental control, a quiet redirection of your inner life toward a manufactured world. And the result is a generation across all ages becoming emotionally homeless. I'm sharing this because no one else is. And if you don't become intentional about reclaiming your focus, this system will rewrite what you care about before you even notice it. That's why I tell people, use tools that pull you out of digital noise and back into clarity. Every morning, I use a 31-day daily high-impact planner. Not a fancy app, not a dopamine trap, just writing one conviction at a time, because writing forces the mind to slow down. And slowing down is the new act of rebellion. Try it. Tomorrow morning, before checking a single notification, write one thing you believe in, one conviction. By the end of the month, you'll have 31 beliefs stronger than any algorithm. We're entering a mental health reset moment, and most won't make it through without burning out or giving up.
But you can, because awareness isn't fear, it's power. And once you see how they've designed distraction to feel like connection, you can finally step outside it. Don't let this system rewrite who you are. Guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. And this is only the beginning. The second hidden truth is far more unsettling, and it's already creeping into your home, your finances, and your independence without you realizing it. It's happening right now, and I'll explain exactly how and what you can still do to stop it in the next few moments. But for now, tell me in the comments, do you feel this mental shift in people around you, or do you think it's being exaggerated? Write either, "I feel the shift," or "Not yet, but I see the signs." Your awareness might help someone else wake up. Because remember, this isn't about fear, it's about freedom. And freedom begins in the mind. Most people think technology is progress. But what if I told you progress is quietly stealing something far more valuable than your time? Your autonomy. You see, while everyone's distracted by new devices, upgrades, and promises of convenience, a massive shift has already begun. One that's quietly excluding millions from the modern world. And it's accelerating this November. Don't skip what I'm about to say, because this is already reshaping lives every second of every day. You may not see it, but you're already in it.
And by the time we reach the end of this message, I'll tell you why this is happening, why they're hiding it from you, and what you can still do before it's too late. Because the truth is this: the more connected the world becomes, the more disconnected you become from control over your own life. The second hidden truth, the one no one's talking about, is digital exclusion and the quiet loss of personal autonomy. Across America, the UK, Canada, and Australia, millions of seniors are being digitally locked out of society. Banks are closing physical branches, doctors are moving to telehealth. Services once simple now require passwords, apps, and constant verification codes. And every one of those changes sounds small until you realize that together they're creating a world you can't access without a device, a code, and an algorithm's permission. That is not progress. That is dependency disguised as innovation. I've warned for years that AI will not take your job immediately. It will first take your access, and it's already begun. In the U.S., more than 25 million seniors report difficulty completing basic digital tasks. That's banking, healthcare, insurance, taxes. In the UK, nearly 30% of people over 65 say they can't use essential online services without help. In Australia, more than 40% of retirement-age citizens feel digitally invisible. Invisible. That's the word repeating across the world. And the cruel irony? The people who built the systems that shaped the modern world are now being slowly locked out of them. Here's the pattern they don't want you to see. Each new update gives more control to digital intermediaries, tech companies, AI systems, and invisible platforms that decide what you can do and when. You don't see the locks because they're hidden behind terms of service. But one update can now disable your access to your money, your communication, your health data, even your identity instantly. And the most dangerous part? You won't know it's happened until you need it most. That's why I'm telling you not to scare you, but to prepare you. I received a message last month from a 72-year-old man in California. He lost access to his bank account after a new identity verification update. He called customer support. They said, "You need to use the app." He said, "I don't have a smartphone." They said, "Then we can't help you." For 3 weeks, he couldn't access his savings. He told me, "It's like I don't exist." That's not an isolated story. That's a warning. If we don't act now, the systems meant to serve us will soon control us. And here's what's happening behind the curtain. AI systems are already being trained to assess who gets access to resources based on digital behavior. It's called algorithmic eligibility, and it decides if you qualify for insurance, a loan, a medical appointment, even housing. The less digitally active you are, the more risky the system assumes you are. So seniors, those least represented in data,
become the first to lose autonomy in silence. That's the invisible exclusion that's spreading faster than any economic crisis, and most people have no idea it's happening. Now ask yourself this: what happens when access becomes the new currency? When control shifts from people to systems? Who decides who stays included? Drop your answer in the comments. I genuinely want to see your perspective. Comment either access is control or we're losing autonomy. Let's see how many people are awake to what's unfolding. This is why I keep saying write things down. Don't outsource your memory to devices that track you more than they help you. The 31-day daily high-impact planner isn't just a tool, it's a resistance act. Every line you write by hand keeps your thoughts outside the algorithm, because what you write, you own. What you click, they own. So tomorrow morning, before you go online, write down one area of your life you want to regain control over: your time, your spending, your attention. Start there. That's how autonomy begins, one written decision at a time. Let me tell you something that will make more sense later. The most dangerous system being built right now isn't physical, it's psychological. The silent conditioning of trust and automation is creating generations that believe convenience is safety. That's why they're hiding the real agenda, not because it's evil, but because dependence keeps economies running. In independence, your independence is the only thing that can protect you from what's coming next. Because what's approaching this November is not just about technology. It's about replacement of agency. And it's happening faster than anyone expected. I can't reveal everything yet, but I will before the end of this message. The fourth hidden force is already in motion, the darkest, most personal one. And it explains why this digital exclusion exists in the first place. When I tell you that, you'll understand exactly what's coming and why you're not hearing it from the media. But for now, remember this: every click, every sign-in, every password reset is data. And data isn't the new oil, it's the new chain. And the only way to break that chain is to reclaim the decisions you've quietly handed over. Time is running out. In November, more systems go live. New ID verifications, new automation frameworks, new security layers that look protective but function as digital checkpoints. Most won't notice the change until they can't log in, and by then, it'll be too late to question it. That's why you're hearing this now, because someone had to tell you before the system finishes building itself around you. So if you're listening, don't panic, prepare. Start simple. Learn one new tool, but own it. Don't let it own you. Keep your finances accessible, keep printed copies of what matters, stay alert. And don't forget, this message found you for a reason, because the third hidden truth coming next connects every piece of this puzzle. It will explain why what's unfolding right now is not an accident, but a financial and generational reset. And that reset is already quietly eroding the foundation most retirees depend on. Stay with me. Don't skip what's next. You'll understand why no one's telling you the full picture and why what's coming could change everything about the way you live. They told you to save for the future. They never told you the future would change the value of what you saved. What's unfolding right now, quietly, mathematically, and relentlessly, is the third hidden force, reshaping lives in real time.
The collision of longer lifespans and eroding money. It's not coming years from now. It's here, tightening every month, every paycheck, every grocery bill. Keep listening carefully, because this connects everything you heard before. The loss of access and autonomy was just the preparation. This third one strikes directly at what you've worked your entire life for: your independence, your dignity, your ability to live on your own terms. Across the United States, the UK, Canada, and Australia, life expectancy keeps rising while the real value of retirement income keeps falling. On paper, you might have enough. In practice, your savings are shrinking every time prices rise faster than interest.
Inflation doesn't need to double to destroy wealth. It only needs to persist. And it's persisting. Food, healthcare, housing, all rising at 2 to 3 times the official rate. That gap between numbers and lives is where millions are quietly slipping into financial exhaustion. Here's the pattern that no one wants you to notice. As people live longer, systems that promise security, pensions, insurance, social benefits, were never designed for this timeline. Every extra year of life now costs an extra year of spending power. But that power is eroding faster than anyone predicted. They call it longevity risk, the risk of outliving your savings. But in truth, it's not just longevity. It's policy delay, currency dilution, and denial. While headlines celebrate resilient economies, silent inflation keeps redrawing the map of affordability. Ask yourself, if prices keep rising faster than interest, how long can your savings last? Drop your answer below. Share your comment. Either it's already happening or we can't keep up. Let others see what you're experiencing. This conversation must leave the shadows. A woman from Manchester wrote recently she retired with what seemed enough for 20 years. In 8, she's down to half. A man from Texas said his medical insurance premiums now equal his monthly grocery budget. A retired couple in Melbourne sold their home to cover long-term care for one of them. Different countries, same math. Longer lives, smaller margins, rising fear. And yet few talk about it. Why? Because the system depends on silence. If too many realize their savings plan is based on outdated assumptions, confidence collapses. And confidence, not value, is what keeps these systems standing. But here's the deeper truth. Longevity should have been humanity's victory. Instead, it's being turned into an economic liability. People are being punished for living longer. How did this happen? Because the financial models were built for shorter lives, lower inflation, and predictable growth. None of that exists anymore. Every extension of life expectancy adds strain to pension funds. Every burst of inflation transfers purchasing power from savers to debtors, and the debtors benefit from your erosion. That's why few are warning you. The system survives on the quiet decay of your stored labor. So what can you do? You start by knowing, then by tracking what you control. This is where that 31-day daily high-impact planner matters. Again, use it to write what you spend, what you owe, and what you own on paper, not inside a digital platform that feeds back into the same algorithms that profit from your data. Every note you write by hand is clarity reclaimed. Because the one advantage you still hold over automation is awareness, and awareness compounds faster than interest when practiced daily. Now listen carefully. There's something bigger hidden beneath this erosion. Something that ties every force we've talked about. The loss of access, the digital dependency, the silent inflation, they're not random events. They're phases of a deeper realignment that's peaking this coming month. What happens when millions who depend on fixed income meet markets designed for volatility? When the same technologies that promised financial inclusion start deciding who gets credit, who gets health care, who stays insured? This is not speculation, it's scheduled. In November, multiple new policy reviews and financial system adjustments go live across several economies. Index recalibrations, pension fund rule changes, health cost adjustments. Each looks small in isolation, but together they shift the weight of survival further onto individuals, especially seniors, at the very moment their margins vanish. Pause and think. How many people will realize too late that their safe retirement plan depends on numbers that no longer exist? How many will wake up next year wondering where their purchasing power went? You can already see it in every shrinking grocery cart, in every bill that quietly doubles while official inflation claims it hasn't. And if you feel it, you're not imagining it. You're witnessing the adjustment no one announced. Share your story in the comments.
What changed most for you in the past year? Costs, healthcare, or housing? Write it. Read others' replies. That connection matters. Awareness spreads faster when it's personal. Now, understand this. The erosion of retirement security is not the end. It's preparation for what follows. Everything so far, the digital dependence, the silent exclusion, the financial drain, is converging toward a single pivot point. That next phase is the reason the media stays quiet, because it isn't just about money or access anymore. It's about identity and control. I'll explain that next. What it is, why it's accelerating this November, and what you can do right now to shield yourself and your family. Because when this next shift hits, most people won't even recognize it's begun until they're already inside it. And by then, protection will depend not on what you own, but on what you understand. So stay with this message. Don't skip what's coming next. It's the most urgent truth of all. The one that explains why you felt these patterns tightening around you and why this video found you now. They told you home was safety. But what happens when home becomes the last place left because there's nowhere else to go? This is the fourth hidden force already reshaping lives. Aging in place without support. It's not theoretical. It's visible in every quiet neighborhood, every darkened apartment, every senior living alone behind closed doors. And it's accelerating this month. As costs rise, services shrink, and social systems strain under record demand. Keep listening, because this is the one few dared to speak about. It's the most personal, the most human, and the one that connects everything we've uncovered so far. Across the United States, the UK, Canada, and Australia, nearly half of older adults now live alone. Many thought they'd age with family nearby or community networks intact.
Instead, they face shrinking pensions, rising living costs, and vanishing care options. In the U.S., 1 in 4 adults over 65 reports skipping basic medical visits because they can't afford transport or home assistance. In Britain, more than 1 million older adults go an entire week without speaking to another person. In Australia, aged care waiting lists exceed 250,000. These aren't statistics. They're early warnings of a system quietly breaking down. The pattern hidden beneath is this. They encourage aging in place to reduce costs, assuming family or community will fill the gap. But families are scattered, younger generations are overworked, and the digital shift has severed the remaining line of contact. So millions are being left to manage alone, physically, financially, and emotionally. Each month that passes without structural support deepens the divide. Technology promises remote care. In reality, it replaces people with screens. Housing markets promise stability. Instead, rents rise faster than fixed incomes. Health systems promise accessibility, but automation and staffing shortages mean longer waits and fewer visits. The result? Independence without infrastructure. Ask yourself, what happens when independence becomes isolation? When aging in place turns from freedom into silent neglect? Drop your view below. Independence needs support, or we're being left behind. Read others' comments. Share experiences. This crisis is global, but recognition begins locally. A story from Toronto. A retired teacher, 81, living alone. Her savings declined with inflation. Her caregiver hours were cut, and her landlord raised rent. She told a community volunteer, "I still have my house keys, but I don't feel at home anywhere." Similar voices echo in Texas, Glasgow, Sydney, Oakland, each describing the same quiet reversal. People living longer, but supported less. This is the social counterpart to the economic erosion we already uncovered. Financial insecurity isolates. Isolation accelerates decline. One feeds the other until resilience collapses. Here's the deeper structure no one shows you. Digital exclusion,
economic erosion, and now the collapse of physical care. They're not random. They converge toward a single outcome: reduced autonomy, masked as choice. The system tells people they're choosing to stay home, when in truth, many can't afford alternatives. The narrative of independence conceals a policy of withdrawal. This is why media avoids it. Admitting the failure would mean admitting that longevity without support isn't progress, it's abandonment. And yet, inside this bleak pattern lies the last area of control you still possess: preparation. Awareness doesn't reverse inflation or policy, but it changes reaction time. That's why writing, recording your needs, contacts, finances still matters. Use that 31-day daily high-impact planner to map support networks: who you can call, what you can outsource, what you must secure before emergencies. Every page is a safeguard, because the moment you plan on paper, you reclaim agency from systems built to forget you. Now pay attention. This coming month marks a convergence. New cost of living adjustments, healthcare premium resets, and policy reforms that shift responsibility further onto individuals. For those aging at home, that means higher out-of-pocket costs and reduced access to in-person aid. Small adjustments translate into real isolation for millions. Time is running out to prepare. Look closer and you'll see it happening around you. Lights off earlier at night, pharmacies closing on weekends, home care workers stretched across impossible routes. It's not a headline because it unfolds one household at a time. But when enough isolated homes exist, society itself fragments. That fragmentation is the signal no one measures. It's the silent crisis already in motion. Share your story in the comments. What's the hardest part of staying independent where you live? Costs, health, or loneliness? Your perspective can help others recognize patterns around them. This is how collective awareness begins, one shared truth at a time. Understand this clearly. This crisis is not the end. It's the threshold. The first three forces we constructed. This one exposes the consequence. And behind it, something larger is moving. Something tied to personal freedom, identity, and how much control individuals will be allowed in the years ahead. That's what I'll explain next. Because everything that has happened, the economic erosion, the technological exclusion, the collapse of care, is setting the stage for a transformation few are prepared for. It will redefine what freedom means in daily life. And you need to hear it before the next wave begins. Hit the like button so this message reaches more people facing the same reality. Subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss the next message, is the most critical one yet. Because while this crisis deepens quietly, awareness is still power, and power shared among those who understand can still change outcomes. Stay alert, write everything down, and never forget the silence around you is the sound of a world shifting beneath your feet. What comes next decides how free we remain.